Hi everyone who has joined in. So this is Tanuj. I'm the head of product and neurosensor, and along with we have Mahesh, our managing director. Hi Mahesh.
Hi, hi, how are you? How's everyone?
Everyone is doing good. So we already have around 63 people joining
Mm,
in, and most of the people have got their vaccinations as well. So that's good to see.
that's good, that's good.
So before we start, we'll wait for next 3 more minutes, guys.
Yeah,
As you guys are all working from home, let us know if anyone is working from the hills or beaches. I am actually. I'm working from hills in India. How about
yeah.
you, Mahesh?
Unfortunately, from home. I also wanted to go to Bali to work from there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think everything is closed and that's good. I think right now the situation here is really getting bad and we need to make sure that, we go through this phase. And I think it might take a month or so, but I think we have to go through this phase.
Yeah, I think it's the time that if, everyone in the community help each other out whenever
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
a requirement, then
Yeah.
people can ping each other. So, guys, just type on the chat where you guys are working from. We just have 2 more minutes before we start. So, let's see if you
Especially,
guys are working from an interesting place,
yeah,
work
I
from
think
home,
somebody
and
is
this
working from hills in Indonesia also. That's great.
is. I think we
Mhm.
can. I remember our trip to the Man Safari and how we went to Punchak.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a nice place to be right now. Andrew says he's working from home. Astari also says working from home. Working from home. Jakarta. Ayu says fortunately working from home.
Yeah. I just started to share the screen just so that people are aware of what we are going to talk about.
Yeah. Felix has suffered, I think, the COVID outbreak. He says he's not employed yet.
Mhm.
Yeah. All the best, Felix, for finding a new place to work. Sebastian also working from home in Tangerang.
Okay.
This time when I visit Indonesia, I'm definitely going to Tangerang because the last webinar I did, Mahesh, there were a lot of people from Tangerang and I wanted to explore that place. Last time I could not move that much, but this time for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully everything will be well by then, and
and it
mobility
will
will
be
be
well.
back. Yeah. So I think we have around 78, and we are around 205. I think let's start. Maybe I
Yep.
think slowly. Yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone for attending this webinar. So as you will see, it's something. It's mentioning episode 1. So basically, the idea is to start a series of webinars which is around consumer behavior and understanding Indonesian consumers better, in this understanding marketing better, and so that we can help as a research agency, as a consumer consultants, we can help our marketing colleagues like you to better understand the consumers. And what we are planning to do is come up with a monthly series of episodes or podcasts. So this will also be available on the Spotify podcast and also YouTube and other places for you to later on again look at it. So we have many seniors in our company. So I'll be, along with Rajiv, who is our global CEO, plus Sri Ram, who is our qualitative head. Three of us mostly, but even others in the company will uh, maybe partner with some of the clients, some of the thought leaders, and some of the other people who have views, and come up with a monthly webinar and monthly podcast for you, so that you can get more enriched in the information. Uh, Now, so with that, I think let's start with it. So let's start with today's discussion, first discussion. So today's discussion is around Indonesian Consumer Trends 2021. And this is something which we did a couple of months back. And we have been talking to clients one-on-one also. But we thought that maybe it's a good idea to actually do a complete a more wide audience, and we can share with a wider audience so that everybody can gain from this study we did. This study was done internally, and it was done by us, and we also combined a lot of examples from what we have been seeing around us in Indonesia specifically, and some of the other parts of the globe, to understand how our other marketing teams are using these trends, so that we can help you with some ideas. So the theme of this presentation or webinar is, and treat it as a discussion. You can keep on asking questions as and when you have your questions, and Tanuj will help us to bring it up, and we can answer those questions and try to make it more interactive. The whole idea is what we have been going through, pandemic, right? So in 2020, we thought that that's the height of pandemic, and 2021 will be all good. But seems that 2021 is even worse than 2020. And it seems to be going on, and nobody knows when it's going to finish and things like that. So with this context, the whole thing, what is happening is consumers are, their overall behavior is changing, and there are a lot of things which are happening, which is changing some of the basic fabric of how consumers are thinking, what consumers are doing, what are they craving for, what are they seeking, and how they are adapting to this changing marketing environment. And the whole idea of this presentation is to make you look through some of these trends broadly, to see how you can use some of these trends in your own marketing agendas as you go forward. Now, if you see, Tanuj, this black box is coming on the top, is it?
No, we don't see it.
You don't see it? That's fine then. Okay. So basically, if you see how do you use this deck, we are going to talk about some of the big trends. Now, the point is, many cases, if the trends are not converted into marketing ideas, then many of these goes waste. So this whole idea, the way the webinar and the deck, the way we have made in such a way that it gives you inspiration. We have tried to pull in as much idea as we have from around us, and try to inspire you so that you can create your own marketing ideas and put it on your marketing agenda. So that's how you need to use this deck. And like I said, it was done based on a 500 sample size, robust study across 5 cities in Indonesia. And it was done in March because we thought, I think, pandemic was just coming to end, and we'll see how consumers are adapting. We're not aware that a second wave is going to come. And this makes this whole thing even more relevant, because as we continue to get these waves, I think people's behavior are going to get more solidified, and are going to get more robust in that sense. So we have 6 trends. I'm not going to talk about this right now. I'm going to talk about it one by one and then come back to it at the end. So first trend I'm going to talk about is sustainability. So sustainability, if you see, is actually something which many marketers have been trying to talk about from many years. You're talking about, the words were used is environmentally friendly. Are consumers actually caring about the environment? Are they caring about the plastics? Are consumers caring about the environmentally friendly production process of the companies? But very frankly, I've been here since last almost 15 years, and I've been trying to understand this ever since. For many beverage companies, especially who's looking after plastics, waste, etc. And we found that Indonesian consumers earlier never cared about sustainability at all. It was always in last in the attribute list, and people used to say, no, who cares? Everything will be fine. Now things are changing. I think people are saying this whole COVID has brought forward this whole issue of sustainability and how you should care about the environment. Right. And see, there are a lot of things you have been seeing on your WhatsApp, and you're seeing on various news articles. When there are lockdowns, there are wild animals which are coming back to the cities. and there are a lot of things which saying that this is happening because what we did to the nature. Now this
Yeah.
is more like early warning note, in the sense, okay, if you continue like this, living like this, it's not so far that it's going to become difficult for human beings to sustain in Earth. So even from higher SES to lower SES, younger to older, everybody is getting this whole feeling that we need to protect this environment, we need to protect the Earth. So what is happening because of that is a lot of things happening. So first is, I think, and that also is connected to various other things which are happening around us. So example, in Indonesia, we have seen that plastics has been banned by Jakarta government and some of the other big cities. And whenever you go to an outlet, you have to either buy the pack, and even if you buy, you will get the not the plastic, but the cloth kind of packaging. So nowadays, when we asked in a survey, almost 81% and 89% in Jakarta said that nowadays they carry their own bags while shopping for grocery. So it is becoming a habit, because obviously once they buy the pack, they don't have to go and buy again. And anyway, and obviously everybody is trying to save the money, and possibly they'll already have too many bags in the house after buying multiple times.
Right.
So it is becoming a part of habit. So earlier, which was very difficult to uh, do, because if the outlet continue to give you the plastic bags, then you're not going to use you're not going to carry. But once they stopped doing it, that's a very coercive behavior. It's a big nudge, and people have shifted. Now this bigs now on the right side, on the green bubble, you'll see we have kind of, in all the slides we have put something like this, more like an opportunity for the marketer to understand how you can take this opportunity forward. Now, I
Mhm.
also personally go and take all these bags. Uh, I think for marketers, it's a big opportunity. I don't see any branded bag, for big companies, big brands. It becomes a big touch point for you. So suppose if you are a Coca-Cola manufacturer, you can make a Coca-Cola red colored bag, with Coke signs on that, and give to consumers free when you buy some package, some set of bottles.
Right.
Or for any other brands, big brands, you can do some kind of package where you can give some stuff. So if you buy a certain amount, you get a free bag. So idea is not only supporting the consumers on that, but also it becomes another touch point for visibility. And that, to me, that trend gives a very big opportunity for all the uh, manufacturers, which I don't see right now happening in Indonesia.
Yeah. It will help them in branding for sure, Mahesh.
Yes, correct. Branding, and also consumers will feel that, yeah, they're also caring for environment, and they're caring for them.
Yeah. And I think it happens with like we use Gojek Grab, everyone does, right? And
Mhm.
their helmets and their jackets.
Mhm.
That is also, even though it's not like nature friendly, but it's also a part of branding which helps them as
Absolutely,
well. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Then second is the packaging. So it's not just about beverages, it's not just about plastic bottle, but it's about every packaging, right? So 73% of the consumers say that they don't mind paying extra for products which are packed in nature friendly materials like recyclable plastics and paper. And nowadays, more and more we are seeing that brands are coming up with recyclable propositions. One clear example in Indonesia is Aqualife. I think they have launched a completely recyclable bottle with a premium price, and it is still selling. That means it has not been delisted, meaning that people are still buying it from the last couple of years, and that means people are willing to pay that premium for the recyclable plastic. Then there are many companies globally, like Nestle and like the P&Gs of the world, who are doing a lot of effort in trying to say that they have put goals for themselves. That 2025 we're going to use reusable packaging.
Yeah.
Tide has already launched a eco box, which is completely eco-friendly, with which consumes less water the way it's used. So it's not just about the material, but also how it is used and the user experience of the consumers, how this leads to lower level of in environmental damage or carbon footprint, on any aspect. So the question to my colleagues here in marketing is, what is your brand's goal? Do you already have any brand's goal? Have you already thought about it at a senior management level, at a board or director level? Have you thought about what's your plastic policy? Are you going to reduce it? How are you going to reduce it? And if it is there, why don't you experiment and start working with at least one or two places, and consumers can see you that, yeah, you are a thought leader, you are a leader on this space, and you're trying to drive this. And definitely, I'll speaking, uh, in this current situation, all these really matters, and the image of the company, uh, from the perspective of brand purpose and brand affinity grows much higher.
Yeah.
So that's the second point. So first point, like we said, just the shopping, and the second is going deeper into the packaging itself. Third is going even more deeper. So if you see, environmental friendly is not just about the end product, but also the entire process of manufacturing. So if you see on the right hand side, earlier, I think this whole value chain or production process involved price, quality, and on-time delivery, right? So you're trying to improve your quality, reduce your price all the time, and trying to make it very on-time delivery, just uh, enough product in the back end kind of thing. But nowadays, I think you see it has shifted, and sustainability has become one important component of it.
Hmm.
So in your entire aspect, from the place you like source your raw material, is it sourced from a place where it is sustainable kind of thing, uh, and to the point where you are completely disposing of, so the two examples I'm giving here is the two ends spectrum of it. So Nestle, for example, is saying that they are sourcing 100% certified sustainable cocoa by training farmers and building schools, and they are making chocolate is better for everyone kind of thing. So they are actually trying to promote that they are sourcing, and sourcing is very sustainable. And on the other side, Coca-Cola, for Sprite, they are saying that the disposed bottle is been used to make plastic glasses, which I think will be ultimately used for some underprivileged purpose, and other kind of helping the downtrodden and helping others kind of thing. So if you see here, so in between, earlier we were talking about in between, right? The process of shopping and the product itself, and this takes into one more step, which is to the left and the right of that. So again, the point here is this might not be something which you might immediately able to do, but I think you have to, as a marketer, you have to see, are you trying to do this, and are you going to, are you communicating whatever you're doing in your value chain? First of all, are you doing at all? And if you're, and we must be doing most of them. And if you're doing, are you communicating in the right way? Because if you see some of the leaders in the market who have great brand values are doing it. So I love if Indonesian local clients specifically are also start getting into this, uh, and not like leave it to complete end, 2025 and 30, when maybe they will be pushed to doing it, right? And finally, the fourth point is about helping the community. So it kind of uh, completes the loop. So what are you doing to help the community? And 71%, like again, it's one of the high numbers, who like to be associated with brands which help the community, especially in today's time, COVID time, when there are people who are losing jobs, and there are poor people who are, on a daily wage is kind of struggling in the markets. What are we doing for them, for the overall nation, for the downtrodden, etc.? So just one example here, which I came across. I think there must be another examples. So I think idea of this example is just to, what do you say, prime your mind so that you can visualize it better, in terms of what we are trying to say. But doesn't mean that these are the only ones, or this is the only way. Now, if you look at this is one SDM promotion which they did, saying that, if you buy something, some 5,000 will be donated, to certain underprivileged kids, and who will be helped by this. So the consumers like this kind of thing. Okay, doesn't matter 5,000, at least the brand is helping the poor people.
Yeah.
So here the idea is create promotions linked to helping people. Maybe if you directly help people, again it might be more like a one way, but here, since we are talking about marketing and improving our marketing, one good way will be to how to improve or create promotion linked to helping people and doing good for community. So it will help two ways. It will help your sales and
Mhm.
also help your image in that sense. So it's a dual benefit, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So
Right.
we got a lot of questions here as well, Mahesh. So I'll
Ah,
start picking them up.
yes, right.
So the first question is from Vidya.
Mhm.
She says, apart from planning to promote recycle, are brands also planning on educating the society on the importance of recycle? I think it links back to the same thing that you were talking right
Yeah, yeah. See, I think educating the society, sometimes I think long time people have been doing.
now.
So the question is, right now society is getting educated by themselves, thanks to Corona and COVID, and I think a lot of people are already getting the thing of it. I think it's usually consumers don't like to be educated, So it's, I think once people start doing some things and they start seeing real outputs of that in the market, then they will start, what do you say, then they start comparing, oh yeah, this is recyclable, this is not, this is
Mhm.
better for environment, this is not. Then the real education will happen. Like we say, a lot of training by is actually the best training is by doing yourself. So
Yourself.
and theoretical training does not help. So in my opinion, I think training the consumers is going to be very difficult. uh, but I think by organic training which we'll get, that I think will anyway happen. But I
Right.
think from marketing perspective, rather than training, it needs to be executed. I think execution is more important in terms of how you are helping the
Yeah.
environment.
Like literally leading the way, showing them
Yeah,
the way.
leading the way, right, Karim?
Yeah, got it. And then there's another question from Gloria. She says, most people are interested in purchasing sustainable products are of young age. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's true. I think we have also seen a trend because the younger consumers are more on Instagram and they are more conscious of this whole. Because ultimately they are going to live in the future, right? Old
Hmm.
people are already gone, right? They don't care too much about future because they have already lived their life. Young people are more afraid, how the world is going to change 50 years from now when they are going to
Right.
get old. So I think, yeah, and that's very true. There, so somehow I think because again it's linked to social media. Younger people are more on social media,
Hmm.
and a lot of influence is happening through social media,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have mentioned a really good point as well. So they mentioned that to replace plastic with recycled plastic, but there are also a lot of demand to replace gelatin because the
Mhm.
more and more consumers who like plant-based ingredients, even though
Yes.
not yet vegan. Yeah.
Yes, correct. I think that's another trend, which, however, in our study, we did not find it to be very prominent right now. That's why we have not put, but we had tested that,
Okay.
that how consumers are open to plant-based materials. But I think right now, I think maybe consumers don't understand it because they understand plastic is better. Okay, recyclable plastic. I think how plant-based, etc., they do not really understand right now. So that I will go to the first question there, education I think will
Right.
important, but ultimately consumers see the end output,
Hmm.
uh, that's where it makes a
Big question.
difference.
Yeah. So the last question I'll take, and then we'll move to the next trend. So
Yeah.
Dennis mentioned, do you have examples, findings of recycling slash sustainability program by the brands that really resonated with consumers, like that actually worked? As many brands are doing it, just want to know if there are two, three good examples.
uh, I think I would say globally, I think Coca-Cola is one of the best examples because they are the one who are the most hit by this plastic thing, and they have been continuously doing something around, how to kind of reuse the end product and all that, at least towards the end product. Nestle is another example, but they are more towards the sourcing,
Mm-hmm.
how to source better. But overall, what I see is that only the global guys who are driven by their European counterparts, and where the things are even more conscious, people are more conscious, are trying to drive more of that. I
Right.
don't see many of the Indonesians brand at all conscious about it, how to drive sustainability in Indonesian context. That's where I think my thought and earlier, like I said, I think I would love more Indonesian brands to get into it. Yeah.
There's an opportunity there. So
Yeah.
I think just last one I'll take, because I love when questions keep on coming on, Mahesh. So the question is from Lynn. How big sustainability market would be if you put that into a number? Can you like give a number, or if it's not, that's okay.
No, I think it's not about this. If you want to say that, okay, if I launch a sustainable product, how much of market share it will get? I would say maybe 15 to 20%. I don't think that the market of sustainable products will go beyond, because it will largely ultimately people will want at the lower end also, but because of if it is costly, they might not be able to afford it, and they'll go back to the regular ones. But definitely from the top SES, A and B, younger consumers, and that kind of thing, I see that in another 5 years or so, it might be around 15-20%. But I think the impact on image is also very important.
Yeah.
So that 20% will be there, but the impact on image might be even more higher for brands which are able to drive that.
Yeah, I agree. And Astrid says that I think Aqua is leading the way if I talk about Indonesia.
Yes, right, correct. Aqua is definitely, I gave the example of Aqua Life kind of thing.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. I'm actually loving, we took 6 questions. And I'm sorry, Dennis, I'm focusing on the chat, not on the Q&A right now. So I think you asked the question on the chat itself. Sorry for that. Okay, so let's go ahead, Mahesh.
Yeah. So I think good. I think so. The first, it's very interesting thing because it is changing the mindset. I think that's where the opportunity lies. Next, let's go to the next trend. And next trend is again very interesting. It is fortification. I think again this is something which is reverse of the previous trend. I think this is something which I've seen even from before. The last 15 years, fortification has been one of the what consumers, Indonesian consumers just love. So anything, if you say added vitamin, it will sell. Anything saying added vitamin, minerals, this, that, etc., etc., it always works better. Good. Instead of saying take things out, So when we have done a lot of testing and say, okay, low sugar because it's healthy, nobody buys. But say sugar is there, but we have added some vitamin, minerals to make you still healthy. Oh, that everybody will buy. So consumer is saying, don't reduce anything from my product, add more thing to make it healthy, right? So that has always been there, and there has been traditional products, lot of jamu and lot of other branded products which I'm going to talk about also has been there, which has which consumers had a strong opinion about that it helps them. Now, what is happening with COVID is that they are taking the protection in their hand. They feel that fortification is going to help them make a stronger body, and it can help prevent coronavirus. And even if it not prevent, it will reduce the intensity of coronavirus. So we have been like, if you see the news, I think it's always, on social media, on Facebook, on everywhere, WhatsApp, there are tons of information, consume this, consume that, consume vitamin C, iron, this thing, vitamin, etc. How like vitamin is reducing the mortality and this and that. So it's all everywhere. And when we ask the consumers, 73% of the consumers said that they are consuming more vitamins and mineral supplement than before to build their immunity. And we know from various researchers that vitamin minerals are the highest growing category in the last 2 years. Anything which has vitamin, so the vitamin tablets are like almost sold off the shelves, last year. Nowadays, there have been some viral thing going on, which I'm going to show, which is, if you see here, what's happening, so we know that in Indonesia, since 15 years, I've been seeing that couple of products which has strong immunity benefit across research is Bear brand and UC1000. So this is not something new. So it is there in the consumer's mind from long time. So it's not a new marketing. Now, what is happening with that background? Suddenly, if there's a news, that UC1000 and Beer brand helps you avoid reduce risk of COVID. This has happened. So last week or 2 weeks back, I think there was a crazy panic buying happening, and people were just buying tons of this whole beer brand, carton and carton. So I think Nestle will be very happy, I guess, with this. But 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 yeah, yeah. But it was a crazy thing, and it's true. I think because people are thinking that if I drink this, it's going to improve my body immunity. And you see, Thousand has been one of the highest growing brand in the last 2 years, coupled with all the regular vitamins. So not only regular vitamins, but also the food which have got immunity benefit.
Yeah.
And so what is happening is 67% people are saying I also try to buy products which have got added vitamin and mineral to it. So suppose you are not a product which has got vitamins as a core proposition. So what you will do? I think the point here is, can you add vitamin to your product? That's the key question. Now, one example of success here is Sasa, which I was very surprised. Even like on tepung bumbu, which is flour for frying chicken, etc. So they're adding all these vitamins and zinc and vitamin B and D and C, etc. So basically, it's saying that I can add in this, anything can add. If you have chocolates in which you have vitamin C, even paracetamol has got a combination. I think in some other country which they're saying paracetamol plus vitamin C. So because even if you are feeling fever, you can still take vitamin C along with it. You don't have to take a separate one. And the best example is a completely edgy example is there's a lipstick which has got vitamin C. So you don't have to even need it. Just when you have a regular lipstick, you'll get your dose of vitamin C. So that's a crazy example. But the point is, any food and beverage if you have, can you think about if you how to make a fortified version of it? Can you have, because when consumers end up going and choosing between two brands, one without fortification, with one fortification, and rest of the thing remains same, then your fortified brand will have an edge in the current world. And
I'm
this
going
is,
to
I
ask
think,
this question, Mahesh, to my wife now,
yeah,
about whether she
yeah,
would like to purchase a lipstick with the vitamin C.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that's, I think, just to say that everything is possible. So
Yeah,
don't think that your product is not possible, you cannot put vitamin C in
vitamin
it.
C there. Yeah,
So the
yeah.
question is, yeah, for all the marketing team, the question is, does your product have vitamins and minerals? If not, can you add it? And if yes, can you communicate it? So
Complicated.
you don't have to change your base proposition. I think one question earlier somebody asked me when I was presenting it to a specific client that, oh, but should I change my base product? No, no, don't change your base product. Maybe just another variant, maybe a seasonal variant, maybe just because of COVID situation, added another one, and let's see how it does. If it does well, then we can continue and make it a regular variant.
Yeah.
And we have a list of vitamins and which consumers want based on our survey. Vitamin C is 94%. Like you
Yeah.
see, vitamin C is the core of need. Then you also have multivitamins and vitamin D and B, calcium, zinc. Zinc earlier, I think nobody knew. And nobody actually, if I remember, earlier it used to be in like single digits because nobody knew really zinc. But because of COVID, and zinc has been communicated and made a big hero. So now
Yeah.
25% people are looking at zinc as well.
Yeah.
So I think which vitamins are relevant for your product, again, you can see, and it can include that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, any question on this?
So we have a question from Reza. I agree with this fortification trend as buyers CDR sales increased by more than 30% in 2020 compared to 2019, and around the same of the sales of Takeda's vitamin. So not a question, but Reza shared
Yeah,
their thoughts. Yeah, and Andrew said that I can say that it's not just fortification, but how good the marketing view and strategy is, how people are using this fortification in their marketing strategy.
yes,
So
correct.
yeah, any questions from the audience? Please feel free to shoot. I have one for you, Mahesh.
Yeah.
How would you explain the recent panic buying for Bear brand milk? Is it like just somebody got the news and it spread around, or is it like
Yeah.
actually helping people?
Yeah, I think that I cannot say whether it's actually helping, but uh, my point was that there was a residual image of the brand. These two brands, UC 1000 and Beer brand. So there was a residual image that they are good for immunity. So in the last 10-15 years, whenever I did a research on milk brands and where Beer brand was involved, uh, it was always like the only benefit and only very very strong or strongest benefit of
Mm,
Beer brand was it helps your immunity. And we
mm,
know that even before COVID, even 5 years, 10 years back, when people used to become sick, the only drink they used to drink was Beer brand, because it has been communicated on that platform. So once that image was there at the back end, and somebody wrote an article or some post or something,
mm.
that kind of became viral, and people can connect to their past understanding.
Right.
Right. And then suddenly it became viral. So if another product would have done the same thing or same communication, I'm not so sure it would have had such an impact.
Yeah. Because so
Right.
that
And
also
similarly,
means
if
Mahesh,
UC
like
1000, UC 1000 also because UC 1000, like 1000.
yeah. So I think like communication is a
Yeah, that
long-term
means that you need to
strategy.
continue
Yeah.
your brand. Yeah. Yes, long-term strategy is correct.
Yeah.
It's not
Exactly.
just like you just do it and take it off. What's your brand, what it means for, and sometimes maybe for some time it will not fly off, but suddenly time will come.
Come in. And the Andrew also mentioned that the Bear brand is the power of pom pom, just like in stock market.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, let's go to the next one then. Yeah.
yeah. So next one is again something which is not this is not something which is new.
Mm,
Online purchase. Again, the whole idea is that again this has been growing steadily, slowly, over a period of time. But specifically for FMCG, it was not clicking as much, and it was very very low. Other categories like earlier it was like the kids products plus telecom products, yeah, and all those kind of things. People will still buying more and more on online, but usual regular household etc. They were not really buying because it was already available uh, everywhere. But
yeah.
what COVID has done is because people cannot go out as much and they are afraid of going out. Uh, so they're working from home and online school and online payment, online socialization. Everything is trying to become online. So everybody is becoming more online savvy
Mm,
overall. So therefore, this whole e-commerce is also becoming more because once for something at least you cannot buy, then you have to go to e-commerce. So then once you get into one part of the e-commerce, then you also want to explore other things. So this is more like a nudge thing which has able
right.
to move the people one step above, higher, on the e-commerce platform. So what is happening is because of this trend, many things. I think I'm looking from broad perspective. First perspective is what is happening to the real stores, in mini markets, hypermarket, supermarket, etc. Are what should be our strategy? Obviously, those are not going anywhere. People are still buying most of their products from them. But what is happening is, if you say 68% consumers are spending less time in offline stores, and by less means almost it has become half of what they earlier used to spend. So
Mm,
what is happening is it's more like a walk-in, walk-out strategy.
yeah.
I know what to buy. I don't spend time just browsing around and looking around, what is new, what is. So what is happening is people are not spending time reading the POSMs, the detailed POSM, benefit of the brand, etc. Whatever they want to do, those things they will do online.
Online.
So I will search online, I will read online, etc. In the store, I'll just go and buy and come out. So basically, one of the learning is don't spend too much time, money on offline POSMs, especially the ones which are very detailed, where it needs consumers to spend time, read and understand and all that.
Mm,
So I think this is the overall trend. Uh, and I think once people get into this habit of searching online and buying offline, maybe it'll become into a habit,
yeah.
and then they will not be anyway spending too much of time on POSM, at least for the next year or so. So I think the idea is to don't go into very small POSMs, which people can't see. Make big POSMs, big letterings, which people can read while walking. I think my one step thing to clients are, make something which people, when a shopper, if they can read while walking without stopping and still understand, that is the best POSM.
Yeah.
Because nobody is going to stand in front of POSM and understand and read your POSM. Nobody has time for that. So they just walk, and while walking, if they can see, that's fine.
Yeah.
And lighted PSM is a new thing which is coming up, and consumers are, because it stands apart from the other ones, I think it's getting attracted. Consumers are getting attracted to that. So make big, different, lighted, something which can attract attention, and they can read while walking.
Yeah.
So that is one thing.
Crisp
And
messaging. Yeah, absolutely crisp messaging. Longer
text
crisp
messaging,
message is better than like a shorter versions of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think sometimes because it has become over a period of time, I think if you go to a supermarket, hypermarket, you might get 20 POSM of a brand. You'll not
Mm-hmm.
believe it. And there are so many. There's some so small, some little big, some bigger, some there is a different 20 types. No consumers care about those 20 types of things. Rather have two POSM, big ones, which people will get attracted to and see and take the message home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then opposite side of this is almost half of them saying that they do online search for items before purchasing more than before. And the reason is that they don't want to spend time in the outlet. They want to really make their mind up before they go to the outlet, what exactly they have to buy. And then I think Google search engine optimization, and also e-commerce platform of optimization. Because in e-commerce platforms also they have some kind of search engine uh, optimization, where when you pay somebody say water, then will Aqua come more or less, so that will depend upon how much money you pay to those e-commerce also. So
Yeah.
how much money you go to pay to Google and how much money you pay to these e-commerce, I think for search engine optimization is very important, because people are searching more and more on Google search and also on e-commerce platforms,
Yeah.
because they want to spend less time in the outlets.
I think paid and organic both will work there, Mahesh.
Yes, correct.
Organic for when people are looking for knowledge, and paid when they are looking to buy something. Okay, which product should I buy? Then it should be the paid one, which is
Yes,
called SEM. So I think
yeah.
that will come in for e-commerce now. Agree.
Mhm. And then why they buy, I think just to kind of complete the information. So why they are buying for e-commerce, I think it's just not about promotion anymore. So I think
Mm.
convenience has becoming and people are becoming, what do you say, addicted to that convenience.
Yeah.
So once I buy something and it comes on my door, next time I'm very like lethargic, to go out and then spend so much of time and energy. So delivers to my home, saves my time, energy. And second is good promotions. So I think these two as a combination actually has worked very well for the
Yeah.
e-commerce.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think just for people's information, I think I think most people know. I think Shopee, Tokopedia are the biggest guys in the block of e-commerce, I think, which we need to tap into. So I think having your own branded stores is very important on these e-commerce channels, and search engine optimization within e-commerce. And another thing I think I wanted to say is having the right packaging promo. So one of the reason why FMCG is not working as much in and as per our finding is that consumers find it very inconvenient to buy FMCG on e-commerce. Reason is it's almost like I have to buy one biscuit in one store, then I have to say basket, and that biscuit selling person might be different. Then I have to buy oil. Maybe it's another seller who sells oil. So I cannot be buying one at a time and then paying the what do you say, the transport or the courier for each of them separately, unless I want to buy like 20 oil packets which nobody buys. So it's very inconvenient from a consumer perspective to buy. So I think somewhere there's a solution needed where it's almost like a monthly basket. I can really buy a basket together and somebody can deliver me the entire basket at one courier cost. And
Yeah.
that's why things like Happy Fresh and Sayur Box, and they are doing better compared to Tokopedia and Shopee on the e-commerce regular FMCG. I think they are still doing better on more expensive FMCG, like personal care. When if I have to buy something worth 200,000, I can buy two of it and I can still fine okay with it. So I think my point here was, can FMCG make it more convenient for people to buy multiple things at a time? And I think this is a learning which I think Tokopedia and Shoppees need to learn, how to put them together.
Yeah.
It's almost like, contrary to, it's almost like saying if I have to buy biscuit and oil, if I have to go to two different store, one store to buy biscuit, one to buy oil, why I'll do that?
Yeah.
Even physically, right? So I go to one store, I buy everything together, buy it. I think that same experience needs to be replicated in online.
Online as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And finally, I think on this trend, I think one is emerging trend is social commerce, I think, which is by selling directly by companies on the WhatsApp kind of thing. So uh, directly through Instagram and WhatsApp and all those kind of things. So this is one example Indo food ice cream tried to do. Uh, I'm not so sure how successful it was, but it was a good what do you say, initial idea kind of thing. How you reach out to people and you can get directly delivered, because nowadays delivery through Gojek and other things are becoming more convenient. And
Yeah.
instead of people buying from stores, companies can directly reach out. It helps in brand building as well.
Yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
using Instagram stories and promoting the products directly for e-commerce, I think that's where one opportunity lies, specifically for premium products.
Yeah. So I have a couple of questions from the audience. One is from Pinken, and
Yeah.
I think similar from Ben as well. Like,
Mhm.
once the COVID gets over, do you think the online will still be there? I believe yes, and I think the answers that we have seen in the CX trend report as well, the other one, also says so. And also, Ben asked, do you see consumers switching to online platform more?
More in the sense, see, obviously it's this is later on, like we're going to say, I think this is a long-term trend,
Right.
because like I said, people are getting habituated and people are getting addicted to the
Hmm.
convenience.
Hmm.
So once it goes away, it doesn't mean that people will not buy anymore. Now people are used to, earlier there were a lot of, see, earlier what was the key bottleneck for e-commerce? One was, I'm not so sure what kind of product I'll get.
Hmm.
Now, with after 10 times buying e-commerce, 10 out of 10 product was fine, then nobody is bothered on that, right? Then second was, I don't know how I'll pay. I'm afraid of giving my credit card, number and all that. Now with all these OVO and all the payment options coming in, even COD is becoming so important and so
Yeah.
easy that people are fine. Okay, I think payment is also not an issue. And
Right.
so if I'm payment is not an issue and I'm getting the right product 10 out of 10 times, then my whole two big barriers are gone.
Hmm.
Right. So what is happening is, one by one consumers, this barrier is coming down. Now the
Correct.
only barrier remaining to me is the convenience element. Is
Hmm.
it convenient for me to buy, and it's still value for money to me to courier the products to me? I think one of the biggest barrier in consumer mind is when they add the courier fee.
Hmm.
If I buy a 20,000 product, I cannot add 10,000 to the courier fee, right? It becomes
Agree.
50% more expensive. So
Agree.
that's why people only tend to buy bigger items, or when they buy multiple products, right?
Multiple products together.
Yeah.
I think that's good for e-commerce as well.
Yeah.
And so the one more question from Ben. Ben says that how about fresh produce? Should that go? That is going online, or like that will take a little bit more time, better packaging, or how will people manage that fresh produce?
I think that I would say is going to take more time and might only be limited to very high SES, because I think fresh is consumers in mind. I think uh, it is still something which is kind of distant, because I don't know the experience of people,
Mm.
how the sellers are going to maintain that freshness when they are sending it, and how they are going to store it, and what pricing. I think the point comes down to an FMCG. If you're buying other things on e-commerce, it ultimately ends up being cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Because of promotion, all that. So nobody buys anything on e-commerce if it is more expensive.
Yeah.
But the question is, in fresh, can you make it more cheaper and
Mm.
at the same quality? I have a doubt on this whole model. It is meant, possibly at this point of time, it's meant for premium people who are more sold on convenience. and they are willing to pay a little premium for a more fresher, organic, and those kind of product.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
And there's another question from Suri.
Hmm.
So how to optimize the social media platform while company's account is not growing yet in terms of lack of followers, comment, and like. And like I would just say one word for this: do paid.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I think that's how, if when the organic is growing slowly, you have to make sure that you do on paid, and you have to do activities which engage people as well, so that they comment and like and share on your like
Yeah.
do a small research in your category, put some numbers behind it, right? Like Mahesh, what happens with us as well, right?
Yes.
The
Correct.
data
Correct.
always works. Like currently, I just got a message from Yuri as well. So far, the material content is so great, and thanks for sharing. So this data which tells some stories actually work for people. Yeah, Mahesh.
Huh. Yeah. So basically, one is paid. Second is you need to do the right activation, right things. Maybe I think first thing I'll say, change your media agency. So maybe your media agency is not doing the right thing. So like it's called a dialogue. So you don't do a one-sided thing. Do a dialogue. Make your consumers do something. Activate and all that. Uh, so it must be because your content is not interesting enough. And continue to do. Add another. So there are three types of content in a social media: small, medium, large. Sometimes if you continue to do very small content becomes very boring. Maybe once one off, you have to do one big content, do some kind of big activity, and then start promoting that on your social media to gain that what do you say, push. So that I have spoken to and told few clients who are having similar issues.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
So
And finally, I have one more slide on this one. I think links to digital payment. So obviously, e-wallet is also going to grow. 59% people will say I use e-wallet more than before, uh, and a lot of people have started trusting e-wallet digital payment. That's what I was saying earlier. Earlier payment was a big problem. Now people are used to using GoPay. They are used to using OVO. And used to using even others are coming up. So this whole trust is going up.
yeah.
But very interesting point here is how the payment is getting structured, and segmented. So if you see here, for online, OVO is also big, but Shopee Pay is the biggest because Shopee Pay is the biggest channel and it is driving own Shopee Pay through it. And it's also now coming more in other places. Face to face, OVO is a leader because they were the leaders and they were the beginners who drove face to face more.
Right.
And for transportation and food delivery, GoPay is the leader because again, Gojek and GoFood and all was more driven by GoPay. So
Agree.
everybody is trying to find their niche, and depending upon where are you and what you are trying to drive, I think you can. There's a lot of opportunity for you to have joint promos with them. So they are always doing a lot of promos. So can we do? Can you do joint promo? I saw some promo by one of these players and say there's a scanned what do you say QR code in the shop, and they say if you scan this QR code, you'll go to the Shopee page where you only get product of that company, and if you buy from that Shopee Pay in that outlet on the external outlet, offline outlet, you will get 20% discount.
Right.
Which if you buy the same product directly, you'll not get. So how that beautifully they are connecting, so online to offline promotions.
So that more people use it. That's
Yeah.
a brilliant idea,
So
actually.
it helps Shopee Pay to also get more people.
More
But it
subscribers.
also use the helps the brand to get more consumers, right? And more sales.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next trend.
Yeah. Any more questions on this?
I think that's it. So most people are now asking for recording and presentation later, and I'm saying yes. So
Yes.
to everyone, we'll share the recording and presentation together, maybe by tomorrow or max by Monday.
This is another interesting trend, and I think a lot of people might already have heard similar things. But basically, we see a clearly polarization of the consumers, and there are two worlds which are emerging. So the haves and the have-nots, and therefore, as a marketer, you need to not see the whole world as one world, but see how you market differently to two different worlds. So what is happening? I think a lot of news articles. If you see, if you Google, you'll see a lot of news article yourself, and you'll see that how COVID has worsened inequality. See, the answer is very simple. People like us, who have desk jobs and who are working behind computer, most of us have not lost our jobs. But somebody who has to sell his egg roll, on the street, there's nobody in the street to buy his egg. So obviously he's going to lose his business. And in warungs, if nobody's coming to the warung, he does not have any sales. So, and rich people, their factories are running maybe slightly lower, but maybe I think all the richer are becoming richer and poorer are becoming poorer. Even Chadul Tanjung and all have said that recently. And even BPS, which released that Indonesia's Gini ratio, which actually measures the inequality between rich and the poor, is increasing. And it is not only Indonesia. I think it is a global phenomenon. I think globally, because of COVID, this is happening and polarity is increasing. So what is the implication of this? So if you see here, this is based on our data. So we asked SES A, B, and C, whether they are working as normal as they used before coronavirus, or they are working with reduced salary, or they have actually lost their job and become unemployed. So if you see here, more of SES C1, and we have not even gone to D and E, right? And that if you go by this trend, I'm sure that D and E numbers will be 40-50%, in terms of getting impacted. So you very clearly see, as you go higher SES, they're less impacted. As you go to lower SES, they're more impacted. And this also was in our last Ramadan spending study also came out very clearly. So it was absolutely similar, which is higher SES consumers actually spent more in this Ramadan compared to last year. Mid SES also spend more. Lower SES actually spend less. And this is kind of reflective of their income situation and how their income is getting suffered. And interestingly, why people are spending more higher SES is because now they have more savings. In fact, higher SES consumers are more well off now compared to before because their income is same and their expenditure is gone. They are not have to buy a branded shoes. In fact, they might not even buying a branded pant, because most of the people are sitting on a shorts, right? So
and travel and Mahesh, travel has also reduced.
No travel. I think no foreign travel, nothing, no local travel.
Right.
No fashion, fashion. People are not wearing any fashion accessories. Makeup is down because people don't have to go out, so the ladies don't have to buy all this expensive makeups, etc. So somebody told me that in Indonesia there's a craving for buying what do you call Gucci and all those kind of products, and people are buying at the real expensive ones. It's even selling at a premium. The new releases from France, it's coming through black market, and some rich Indonesians are buying at a double rate. So that kind of craving is there. So if you look at this data, it's very interesting here. So one is health supplement and takeaways and home deliveries, which is the Gojek, GoFood kind of stuff, is increasing for everybody. Though obviously it's increasing more for higher SES than C, but even lower SEC, because they have to save themselves and save their life, they are still spending more on health supplements. They are that's why Beer Brand and UC1000 and vitamins and everything is growing because everybody is increasing. But if you see these two items, which is in-home entertainment, which is OTT subscription, internet, etc., they are increasing for A and B. C is actually slightly down. It's also increasing for B because they have to do education and all those kind of things and office and that. Interestingly, among SESA, even groceries growing. So because they are so bored, they are buying more indulgent items. They are buying some, expensive biscuits, etc., to try out beverages, etc. More than others, while SESC is dropping more. SESB is more or less normal. So this is the contrast, you see between A, B, and C, and how people are kind of, doing a trade-off between what they want to spend, what they don't. And this money is coming from where? If you see below, eating out, 80% down. Foreign travel, 80% people are not traveling. Even domestic travel, out of home. All the cinema clubs and clubs, etc. clothes, watches, and other accessories. People are not buying expensive clothes, accessories, electronic gadgets. Everything is down. So all
Yeah.
this money is getting saved by SCSA, while for these people, their overall money is going down, and they're only spending more on health supplement. So yeah. So the question is, as a marketer, you have to understand which part of the consumers is your more core target. Is it higher SES, lower SES?
Yeah.
And if it's both, then are you targeting or making sure that you are being relevant for each of them? Uh, Maybe we need different SKUs, different promotions, and different channels for them. So some examples, some thought is, for higher SES, maybe we can create better experience for them. Maybe we can make larger packs, because they're actually buying more. So for indulgence, for stocking, we can do bigger pack, multi-pack combos. Online e-commerce, we can sell more of those combos. A lot of people are like higher SES people, even upgrading to premium brands, because they have more money at hand. So if suppose they're getting something at a slightly cheaper rate, they're promoting a premium, bring to premium brands. Maybe we can do bundling with indulgence items, little more indulgent items, expensive items. On the other hand, lower SES, maybe we need to focus more on smaller SKUs, maybe towards the proximity channels, more promotions to continue by the category, because suppose they might be exiting the category, some of the categories, like so I don't want this category for now because I don't have money. So maybe if your category falls in that, you might need to bundle with essentials, because essential is something they will have to buy. So if you're a chocolate biscuit, maybe you can do a cross promo with a cooking oil, because everybody has to buy cooking oil.
Yeah.
Right.
So couple of questions on this, Mahesh. The first one is from Endang. Is there any different situation in urban or other areas? Like we did research in 5 cities. So is there any difference?
Fortunately, we only did in urban areas. We did not. We found that this polarity is slightly higher in Jakarta compared to the smaller cities. I think smaller cities were less impacted in at least till last year March, or they were not so impacted. But I guess that as it goes more and more, now I think from the news I'm hearing that this COVID situation is panning out throughout Indonesia, and even in the rural areas, and even in the small other islands. So I'm saying this is more like overall trend. It might not have got impacted till March, but I guess going forward, this thing is going to be there, because I think the same thing will happen everywhere. But overall, another thing will happen is while there is a higher SES to lower SES gap, there'll also maybe start happening is bigger city versus smaller city gap. Right, because maybe smaller cities are more less of a corporate workers kind of thing, and more of entrepreneurs and regular kind of thing, less of a corporate workers as a kind of proportion of the population. That's my just thought. So while Jakarta sort of they are more of a corporate population, so I think it might pan out if things goes like this. I think it might pan out that smaller towns will get more affected than.
Get it. Okay, so now there are 3-4 more questions. So one is from Sinta. The first is, what is a new requirement criteria by consumers during the pandemic on their purchase and product?
I'm not clear on that question.
Sinta, can you type your question again? And meanwhile, I'll pick up from Fernando. He says, how do you put a subscription program fit in these polarization? I think it's more related to
subscription, right? I think I've been doing some research on subscription programs in these current scenes. I think subscription is something which actually might work more for higher SES than lower SES, because it impacts because of many things, because people are getting used to the e-commerce deliveries. Second is they have it works in products which have got a regular demand, which people know that they have to buy. Suppose they have a small kid, they have to buy a diaper, they have to buy a baby milk, they have to buy certain things. Or any of the regular household expenses where there's a regularity to this. So I think we have seen through many research, not directly on this one, but people are open to subscription quite a bit. And even all kind of consumers, especially higher SES A and B. I think lower SES are not so much open right now because they don't want to get into any kind of commitment that I have to commit to certain expenses.
Agree.
Right.
And the next question is from Ardea. No, it's from Sasya, sorry. I would like to ask regarding the create experience on the higher SES. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that? Like how we can create
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
So I think it is more like, so in this current situation, people are getting bored, and they want to spend more time being busy and doing something, right? So if you are say in a food and beverage brand, so instead of just giving something which they can just eat, you can create some certain product where they can do some, they can take some materials and create something with this. You can give the product with some additional recipe kind of booklets, where say you can use this product and make this at your home, because people are doing more self cooking, and they're doing more things, and they have more time at hand. So how can I use your products along with some other products maybe to create a new stuff which I can enjoy with my friends and not friends, more of family.
Family. Yeah. So I think Suri raised an hand. Maybe she would like to ask the question over the audio. Would you? You can unmute if you want to.
Should I? Okay.
I asked her to unmute. If she says, then we'll go ahead. Otherwise, we'll take the question from Cheryl. Besides the healthy tagline for F&B products during a pandemic like this, what do you think is the best to attract consumers? What is the right fit? Difficult and a broader question, I would say, Mahesh.
So I didn't. Can you come again?
Like beside the healthy tag, what do
Yeah.
you think else? What other thing is the best to attract consumers?
Right. Absolutely. In fact, that's next trend is coming to that. Healthy is just one part of it. I think people are also craving for indulgence. At this point of time. So I think the two end of the spectrum is healthy and indulgence. I think both of the spectrum is equally needed. So everything need not be healthy. If you are a chocolate biscuit with indulgence, I think it's very difficult for you to convince consumers that if you eat chocolate biscuit, you're going to make consumers people less COVID. So then you have to take another angle. Say that the COVID is happening and you have to live with it, but don't sulk. Enjoy with my chocolate biscuit. So that is the another angle to take. So I think healthy is one part of it, but everything cannot be healthy. So then you have to take the other side. Ultimately it's all about some kind of overall high-end benefit which consumers are looking at.
Right. And
So in this
another thing, Mahesh, I would add here is that's why we need to understand our consumers better as well. So that's why these kind of research is important to get to know them better. Like ask them what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So that also helps. And so the last question before we move, it's from Soraya. Do you mind to elaborate on how to bundle with essential if it's in the GT?
Yeah. I think it's like we are not experts in that, but the whole idea is that if you can cross promo with something which that the consumer lower SES are going to definitely come and buy. So the question is, maybe in the current times they will say that, oh, my kid, he needs a chocolate biscuit. I'm just coming back again to that because to me it's just on top of my mind. So but I think I might avoid it for the moment. But the person say, anyway I have to buy cooking oil, but I'm getting a chocolate biscuit along with it, so then they will buy it. Or along with chocolate biscuit I'm getting a small cooking oil, then they'll buy it. And that will increase the penetration of the consumers and some kind of thing. That was the whole idea behind this. The whole idea is that people are definitely going to buy essentials. They might trade off the indulgence, or so then can you make sure that you also provide that? That's the whole idea.
Okay, so I think let's move to the next one. Some people have to leave as well for their next meetings, and they're messaging Mahesh that thank you so much for addressing all our questions, and looking forward to the deck as well.
Yeah, definitely will share it.
Yeah.
So I think final couple of more thing. I think this first four were definitely more interesting. Now the uh, I think this is the fifth one, which is experience craving. Against this is more like a short-term trend, I will say,
Mm.
that people are kind of missing the experience. They're not going out and they have not gone out for travel for so long. They're not gone and have good time with their friends in the restaurants, mostly at home. So they miss the good times in that sense. So people are bored and they're getting the Zoom fatigue. Like we are also creating a part of that Zoom fatigue. So then what to be done? So a couple of things, interesting thing we saw was one example I saw was how a brand can create uh, outdoor events which are safe. Now, obviously, in the current Indonesian scene, I don't think that anybody will do that. But once things settle down a bit, I know that this COVID is not going to go anywhere. I think you'll always have little bit of COVID all the time, and all these restrictions and outdoor, and it's going to remain maybe a couple of years. So, in that case, people will still be afraid of going outside. But can we create outdoor events which are safe? Now, this in this case, Nestle created one fantastic thing, it's called
Mhm.
Fantasy, where they actually created one in Makassar. They created one kind of outdoor area where the kids and the family can drive through, and they can basically do the event all inside the car using a laser tag and things like that. So it was completely safe, yet something outdoor, and it helped obviously the brand to grow. So it is a good idea. With I thought, I think maybe other things, other creative people can come with other ideas. But I think going forward, if this continues for a couple of years and people are going to get sick and tired of or not going out, or doing some event, I think any of these kind of things will excite them, and they'll have a good family time, maybe inside the car and things like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And second one is, I think because of this in-home thing, I think a lot of people have got this thing ignited in them. They want to do something new. So new hobbies, what they should do new. I see a lot of people doing planting, gardening, and gardening. I like a lot of my clients actually. I see they keep on putting photos of their gardens, in their home. Uh, and a lot of people are doing cooking and they're learning paintings and other things. So the question is, can we kind of support this? Can we support
Mm.
this people, our consumers, in their passion and hobbies? One simple way is, can you actually sponsor, or create original content on Instagram and YouTube? So instead of just talking about your brand, why don't you talk about their hobbies and passions, and say that as a brand we give you ideas, we help you. We can think which ones are closer to you. Sometimes even something which is not close to your brand, and you do something, it makes you, the consumers, feel that, oh, you are not just selling your brand, And so
Mm.
strong imagery is built for the brand. Specifically, the brand is big enough and they can afford to do this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it looks like every time I see the brand, they're trying to sell something.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So that I thought that it's worthwhile possibly looking at it. This one I was talking earlier, which is people are eating more comfort food than before, and they are trying also new cuisines by ordering from outside, because I think people are finding comfort in eating, and that is the other part of non-healthy element. So if you're not in a healthy product category, then you go and build your indulgence portfolio, and trying to create experience around indulgence, and see how consumers can improve their mood, during this COVID times with your product.
Mm.
And that's where I think you need to drive your communication and drive your product portfolio, and new experiences. Now that new experiences take me to the next slide, which is what kind of flavor would consumers love. Uh, so we had a set of questions and we had a long set of flavors, but we found one interesting trend, which is, as we know, Indonesians always love chocolate. Anything chocolate is loved. In any category, you see 80, 70, 80% of market share will be chocolate variant.
Yeah.
You take biscuit, you take milk, you take anything. So, but the next trend is, don't give me chocolate biasa, means normal chocolate. People are getting bored of the normal chocolate, and they are seeking combination chocolate. So can you combine chocolate with things like chocolate keju, like chocolate cheese, chocolate
Hmm.
almond, chocolate peanut, chocolate banana, chocolate coconut, And I actually found some examples of it's happening in Indonesia. So if you are in a category where you are actually building chocolate products, can you relook at your thing and say, can you create some chocolate combinations, with other stuff? People want a little more indulgence and experience during these times. And possibly this is again not something which is short term. Maybe I think as chocolate is getting too big, I think people are trying to seek the variety in chocolate
Yeah.
to differentiate from one another, basically.
I miss
And,
Pocky already.
yeah, correct.
By looking at this picture, we don't get Pocky here as easily in India.
Yeah.
Like and we became also we have become half Indonesians already by living there. Like we also love chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah. And the final one is there because we're running short of time. I think I kind of quickly go to the last one before
Yep.
we more questions.
Yeah.
So I think final one is digital escapism. Again, it is kind of linked to e-commerce, but e-commerce was linked more to buying, but this is more related to experience.
Hmm.
It's a stress buster. Now, anytime you have to do something, you have to go to phone, right? There's no other
Yeah.
place to go because you cannot go to parties, you cannot go to movies, you cannot go to travel, you cannot go to gym, sports. So anything you want to do, you have to go to your phone.
Hmm.
And therefore, if you see, 71% say they are socialize more with their friends and colleagues. They are exploring places on mobile, and since they cannot travel, they are playing more mobile games. They started more watching online movies, and they are spending 1.5 hours more, usually before, compared to pre-COVID times.
Yep.
Uh, so the question is, I had one crazy idea. Why don't any of these brands, any of the FMCG brands, uh, give a Netflix promo subscription to people? Lucky draws. If you buy certain products and have certain points, lucky draw, and 1,000 people will get 1 year Netflix free. So that is some promotion which is more relevant right now rather than saying cards. I still see people are giving cards and gold coins. I think nobody is right now interested in that. That's like passe and old times. Why don't you give them Netflix subscription, Amazon subscriptions? That is something which is going to excite the younger generation more than others. And obviously it
Agree.
might be even cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. And finally, I think what are the platforms? I think this is data for the clients. I think they already have, and I think it's quite known to everybody. I think uh, apart from WhatsApp, I think Instagram is becoming #1 platform in Indonesia. YouTube and Instagram, and Facebook actually is slightly becoming lower because people are leaving Facebook really, and it's more becoming a older age consumers platform. So I think TikTok is coming up very strongly and becoming quite big.
Yeah.
So I think these are the 4 platforms I think people should use for their stories, ads, YouTube advertisements. Like earlier you were saying paid, right? I think if you're not doing well organic, I think there's no harm in paying on this and trying to. But again, make sure that your creative content is good and
Yep.
strong. Don't just use random content because then your return on investment is going to be low.
Yeah. The more you know your audience, the more better your creative would be. My issues as simple as that, right?
So I think to kind of find last slide to put it, I think we have 6 trends like sustainability, fortification, online purchase, polarization, digital escapism, experience craving. In all sense, I would say the top 3 are more like a long-term trend.
Hmm.
Sustainability is going to continue. Fortification is going to continue because it has been continuing for some time. And online purchase is going to continue, and people are going
Yeah.
to get habituated to it.
Agree.
Uh, Polarization, yeah, once things come back to normal and normal SES, lower SES also start getting jobs and economic development again starts, I think it might reduce. So it is a short term. Digital escapism, once things open up outdoors, it might uh, become again less. And experience craving, again, it's a matter of if they start getting outside experience and other things, that might go down. So the bottom 2 are more short term, maybe a year or two, where you can use in your marketing thing to use it. But in a long term, I think look at the top 3 trends: sustainability, fortification, and online purchase, where these are going to sustain and going to go long way.
Okay.
Right?
And
Any questions?
yeah, Mahesh, I want to share a poll with the audience.
Yeah.
So audience, everyone, please have a look at this poll before we leave, and we'll take 60 seconds and give your votes and see which of these 6 trends are relevant and actionable for your brand. So I hope you guys can see the poll. Yeah, so I have seen answers coming in. And meanwhile, if anyone has any questions about the 6 trends, or if they want to connect with Mahesh or ask any questions later, I have shared the LinkedIn profile on the chat as well. So you can connect him and bombard him with questions that you have.
And anybody who wants to be part of our regular monthly webinar and this podcast, we would have other points to discuss and other surveys and other discussions. Please write to me or Tanuj, or you can put it on the chat itself, and we'll get back to you. And definitely you can be part of our discussion, so that you can also share your point of view, and you can discuss the overall perspectives.
Yeah. And most of it will be about consumer research, consumer trends,
Yes.
and how neuroscience can help in marketing.
Mhm.
So we'll be discussing about that. If anyone wants to be a part of the panelist in the next session,
Mhm.
uh, so there are 3-4 people already. Oh wow, Mahesh, you'll have a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we have Mohammed Kornia says yes, Ardea yes, Iris yes, Yuri yes. Oh, there are a lot of people, Mahesh.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
There will be a lot of episodes now that we can do.
Yes.
This is amazing. And we'll connect to you. Most probably me, Supriya or Mahesh will connect with you to discuss what topics we can do.
Hopefully, many of them I would already know.
Felix also says yes, yeah. So I think now the polling is still going on. So I'll wait for like 15 more seconds and then I'll show the results to everyone. And meanwhile, yeah, thank you so much to everyone who has joined us today.